Welcome to the Editor's Note Comics Podcast.
I think that this world, it needs men that are willing to make the hard call.
Central Maine's best comics podcast, by default.
Ain't no thing like me, Seth Lee.
Here are your hosts, Zach and Jared.
Maps come with me. No. When do we start?
Hey everyone, welcome back to the show. I'm Zach and I'm here with the boy wonder himself, Jared.
Ooh, the boy wonder.
I thought you were going to be offended.
No.
You're like, I'm no one's boy, but no, you really...
What's wrong with being the boy wonder?
You accepted the role?
Yeah.
I'm not going to
argue about that.
You have some short shorts and you're raring to go in a tiny cape.
I mean, yeah, it's summertime. I don't want those unsightly tan lines at the knee.
What are those, like, C-cup bathing suits, whatever they're called?
What?
Look it up, like, I think they're called, like, C-cup bathing suits, or maybe it's like, I don't know.
Seashell?
Maybe, I don't know. No, I don't think it's seashell.
Describe to me what you're talking about. I don't understand. C-cup bathing suit. I don't fully, I got, like, bra-sized bikinis, like a C-cup. No idea what you're talking about. Zero. Are you saying I've become a C-cup because of my excessive paddleboarding? My chest and my arms have gotten larger?
I guess I had the name wrong, but I was really talking about like this weird half thong thing.
Oh,
that just wraps around you.
A bulge
barely.
pouch. Wow. No.
I assume you had that to take care of tan lines.
No, because you're still gonna have a tan line. That's what you're trying to avoid. I mean, if you're gonna have one, I mean, first of all, this man is jacked. Holy cow!
You were really staring at this photo for a long time. You haven't.
Well, it's because you're holding it in my face.
I know, but you haven't like left its gaze.
Left its gaze, or it hasn't left my gaze.
Whatever.
You
were staring deeply into that bulge pouch.
I was just seeing if they had one in my size, because that one is obviously not big enough.
Oh, of course.
Yes. Anyway, that's on your Amazon browsing history.
I can't wait to see my recommended purchases.
I can certainly tell you that they're not going to be the same as they were moments ago.
What's going on this week? We're going to do all the pop culture news there is with movies, comics, TV. Talk about sports for a minute. Topic of the week, we're going to talk about the 10-year anniversary of X-Men Origins, the worst X-Men movie.
Oof.
Actually, it's not the worst X-Men movie.
You think Apocalypse is? Or Phoenix?
Probably Apocalypse. Because, I mean, there's at least some fun stuff that happens in this one. There's nothing fun in Apocalypse.
That's fair.
One of the worst X-Men movies, addendum. And then your questions. You got anything before we jump in?
No, not really.
Well, in that case, let's just...
We're in the dog days of summer, man. It's just rinse and repeat every day. Go out in the lake, get a little sun.
I mean, I went to work. I didn't go on a lake.
I've been on vacation all summer, so.
Well, there you go.
I know, it's been wonderful.
All right, we're going to hop right into the news.
Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
It's time for the news.
Holy crap.
Yeah?
Holy crap on a stick.
That doesn't sound appealing to me at all.
Oh, this sounds appealing to me.
Oh, okay.
Kevin Conroy, the voice of Batman.
Oh, yes.
And this means we need to do an episode about this now. But for the big CW crossover for Crisis on Infinite Earths, not only are we going to be getting Linda Carter back as Wonder Woman, Burt Ward as Robin, but Kevin Conroy is going to be playing Bruce Wayne in live action for the first time.
Really?
I saw that. I was like, crap, we got to do an episode.
Interesting.
He's going to play old Batman.
Well, then.
In live action. He's just throw on the voice. I mean, he's a pretty fit dude.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
no reason he couldn't do it. I'd buy it.
Attaboy. Old man Bruce.
Yeah. So Conroy is going to be doing this CW crossover. I'm like, I actually have to watch it now. Before I was like, I'll probably do it, but.
Is it everything did it grab you in your heartstrings?
I mean, they've been announcing so many people like doing different big roles. They can't all have an arc. My guess it's going to be mostly glorified cameos.
Makes sense. You got to get everybody in there.
I mean, it's going to be 5 episodes, so they have a little ways to work with it. But still, even if it's 5 episodes, they're packing a lot of people into these.
Yeah, hopefully it doesn't drown or collapse under the weight of everyone that needs to be in it.
I bet it's just going to be cameos for the most part. But still, I mean, I'm in for it.
Now, yeah, you're definitely in for it.
Yeah, I mean, now that they got like Conroy, I'm like, okay, cool. I'll watch Conroy do live action.
Mark Hamill is the Joker live action?
Question mark? No news around him. I wouldn't be surprised if they asked.
Curious.
Like, I mean, even if they go that route, because he played the Trickster in the old Flash. Wait, no, he's already been on this in this world. He's played the Trickster.
Oh, so he couldn't play the Joker.
Yeah, Brandon Routh is playing Superman and he plays the Atom, so he's doing double duty. I forgot Mark Hamill's already in this universe. He's played the Trickster a bunch of times.
Well then, bring it on.
Then bring back Hamill, yeah, get everyone in there.
Why not?
I mean, have him be the Trickster, have him be the Joker, I don't care.
Be both. Be an amalgam.
He could, I mean, everyone's coming on board for this thing. Maybe don't invite back Dean Cain, though.
Oh, come on. What's wrong with Dean Cain's Superman?
It's just Dean Cain.
Wow, that's harsh.
I mean, the person, not the show. He's already in the universe as Supergirl's dad, but I don't know, maybe skip him.
Okay.
If you're looking for reasons why, just check his Twitter, and that's why I'm like,
Oh, okay. Well, I tried to avoid Twitter recently. It's become a cesspool of ugh. Anyway, moving on.
Venom 2 has found its director. Venom the First. Terrible movie. Don't watch it.
Do you blame the director?
I don't know what you blame for that movie. It's all bad. It's not all bad. The design of Venom isn't bad, but the script is weak. The direction's weak. The acting choices are weird. I mean, Tom Hardy jumps into a lobster tank and just starts biting into raw lobsters, and there's no way you could sell that scene and make it good.
But Tom Hardy did.
No, he didn't. He made it bad.
I didn't see it, so.
You didn't miss much. It's not a good movie.
Thank you for sparing. I'll have to watch it at some point, I'm sure, for the show, but thank you for sparing me that.
I mean, probably just skip it and watch Venom 2 because Andy Serkis is going to be directing.
Now we're talking.
Yeah. I think he's only done one directorial thing. He did a Netflix Jungle Book adaptation, which a lot of people didn't like. I didn't see it myself, so I really can't speak on it. He did a lot of second unit stuff on the Hobbit movies.
Yes.
But I mean, I like Andy Serkis a lot, and people use him a lot for creative things. Not only is he a good actor, but I mean, he's kind of, the granddaddy of all effective motion capture.
Oh yeah, he pioneered it. He really revolutionized.
He's the dude.
Yeah.
And this is going to be a movie that, I mean, you could just do CG stuff, but I bet he'll be pretty heavy on performance with the mocap stuff. So I don't know. I mean, he's an interesting choice, and I like him a lot.
No, I think he always produces quality stuff, and he, like you said, he just, with the amount of digital that might be in this, or probably will be in this, and the mocap, absolutely. He gets it. He understands it.
The first Venom movie, boy, that thing made a ton of money, but it is really terrible. It's no good. But, no reason you can't turn it around. I mean, the same way that the first Suicide Squad is pretty crap, but I'm kind of excited about the second one because they got James Gunn doing it. I don't know. It all depends on who's, It's not just the director, but I mean, things certainly start at the top and work their way down, so hopefully it's good.
Well, as long as there's a good script and a good director and there's money behind it, you'd hope it does well.
And Tom Hardy's usually pretty good.
Yes.
He did a really weird, whiny voice for Venom, but, I'm not going to say he's great at American accents, but that's okay. He's generally pretty good.
Yes, he usually does a very good job in what he does.
Yeah, I don't know. Andy Serkis is a good choice. I mean, it definitely made me way more excited for the movie than I was ever going to be. What else happened? Oh, here's a blessing in disguise.
Okay.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has officially wrapped production.
I feel like we talk about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. every week.
Well, we won't be anymore, I guess, because they're all done.
Oh, good for them. It was a good run.
It was
a run.
Sometimes it was good. Sometimes it was mediocre. Sometimes it was very bad.
Hopefully this is very good.
I hope so. I'm in the sixth season has ended. I am certainly not up to date on it. I'm halfway through, I think.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's not bad. It's not egregious, but I know I've said it before, but what was going to be their would-be finale was actually a really strong finale. And now they need to try and make another strong finale, and I just don't have that much faith in them.
Well, that's unfortunate.
Yeah. I'm kind of glad it's done. I don't know if I've ever really done this with a show where I just feel trapped by it.
You've committed this much time and effort into it. You want to see it all the way through.
And now I know where the end point is.
So you just know that you have only so many hurdles left to jump through.
I think it's a short season. I think it's like 10 episodes, and I got like 6 or 7 left in this season. So I don't have that much time left.
Yeah, 16 hours. You can do it.
What a weird relationship I have with the show. I keep watching it.
Yes.
But I'm not really enjoying myself.
There are comments and jokes to be made, but I'm going to spare you those.
I don't know.
I'm taking the high road.
Because it was originally so connected with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but now they've totally abandoned that ship. So it's like, okay, I don't actually have to worry about this in terms of that. But at the same time, now I'm so deep into it. I'm like, I just got to finish it.
You've come this far. Can't stop now.
And I have like no hopes or expectations. I'm like, oh man, I really hope this happens to this character. This happens to this character. Like, I want this one. I'm like, I don't really care. I'm like, just I don't know. Let's wrap this up.
Do something already.
It's not a good show. I know it has diehard fans, but I'm trapped by it. This is what I get for growing up with none of this stuff, and now that it's like very accessible, I'm like, well, I have to watch it.
Yeah, you kind of dug yourself into this. You painted yourself into this corner. I did not.
All kinds of Picard news.
Yes.
You don't know. You're just saying that I have lots of Picard news.
Person playing 709 was having a hard time recreating the voice and refining the voice.
I didn't see that.
I did see that, yes.
Well, the character seems very different than where she was.
She's grown and evolved.
She just doesn't have to wear a one piece anymore. She found clothes. Good for her.
You know, Borg deserve clothes too.
I was going to say, speaking of Borg, but I don't actually have a Borg transition. Robert Picardo might be on Picard. Picardo on Picard. Who is Robert Picardo? Well, if you watched Star Trek Voyager and also First Contact, he's the holographic doctor.
Oh, okay.
So he says that he has been approached by the people on the Picard show. Also, he played the real life version of that. It was Lewis something who was the inspiration for the Doctor. So it could either be that guy, or I mean, just write it away and say like, oh, people respond better to an older Doctor figure, so we've changed the holographic programming.
I don't know.
You could write it away pretty quick, but I mean,
it's not that hard to figure out.
I think it's funny that they're just incorporating like the best parts of Deep Space Nine, because he's a lot of fun. 7 and 9's a lot of fun.
But he was on those. You mean Voyager?
Oh, sorry, yeah.
There you
yes,
go.
I meant to say Voyager, but I just think I mean, well, I don't know how you follow up Deep Space Nine, because that's kind of an ambiguous ending, and I don't know if you want to answer it.
I don't have an answer of how you follow that up.
I think you leave that one alone.
Yes.
Like if you want to have like O'Brien or something, or probably just him, maybe don't touch the rest of it.
Worf, give me a little Worf.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Are we going to get Worf? Probably. Maybe not this first season, but we're definitely going to get him eventually.
I'd love to have some Worf.
I mean, Michael Dorn, for years before this was happening, was pitching Captain Worf.
I would watch
trying to get that off the ground, and it never happened. So I bet he's A, partially pissed, but B, hoping for a job.
Well, at the same time, I think Captain Worf would have been a whole lot of the crew going, no, Worf. No, not going to do it.
I mean, he's one of the most popular characters, so I think if we're seeing what we're seeing, where they're just picking kind of the best stuff, no way in hell we're not going to see Worf.
Worf is hilarious. He's probably the funniest character on the show.
He is not a merry man.
No. Good tea.
But other Picard
nice
news.
House.
So aside from maybe getting the Doctor back from Voyager, no big surprise on this one, but there is going to be some tie-in stuff. And one of them I'm kind of curious about. We're going to get a book, Picard Countdown. It's going to run through November through January, like right before it happens. There's also going to be a prequel novel. This is all being done by producers of the show. But what's interesting to me is IDW, who's had the Star Trek license for a very long time, reusing the phrase countdown, because that's the same one that they used for that book that connected Next Generation to the new movie universe. So they're using the same phrase countdown against kind of the same 4-issue format. Which I kind of accepted once this Picard stuff was announced, that was no longer going to be canon, but now they're kind of, they're using the same title and the same idea, so I'm like, is it? I don't know, I guess we'll see.
The Star Wars multiverse.
I guess we'll start finding out in November if that still counts as canon in Countdown.
Tune in here to find
I don't
out.
know, that'll be fun to get a little tasting of the show before it kicks off.
Give us a little story. Give us a little morsel of what's to come.
Yeah, I want to know what Picard's been doing. I hope it's not just like, here's some wine. This would be a really not visually interesting comic.
Maybe he won't be in the comic very much.
The wine-making process. He might not be. It could be something tangential. It could be maybe about what I'm assuming is the new Borg Queen, or it might be about this crew that we don't really know anything about.
A fine wine takes time to age.
Oh, Patrick Stewart is aged. He's about 172.
Oh, come on. He's not that old.
I think he's in his 80s.
Yeah, but he still looks good.
He does. He's still pretty old.
Yeah.
That's why we gotta do this show now before he can't.
Hey, come on, easy.
Age happens, man.
Yeah, but you don't have to
He's in his twilight years.
Yeah, there are fewer days ahead than there are behind.
Oh yeah.
So what? Don't bring that up. Just let it be.
An announcement this week about Ava DuVernay's New Gods movie. They have confirmed that Darkseid will be the villain, although there is some concern because he looks a lot like Thanos and does similar Thanos-y things.
But isn't that what Darkseid was made to be, or is it vice versa?
It's neither. That is a common misconception.
Oh, okay.
People often say that Thanos is a ripoff of Darkseid, but there is enough information out there that that's not actually true.
Oh.
But people think that a lot. That's definitely out there as a thing. It's not true.
Well, thank you for setting me straight. I appreciate that.
And hopefully others. I don't remember the ins and outs of it, but you can look it up. It's not actually a thing. But boy, doesn't that make you glad that they didn't use Darkseid in that Justice League movie?
Yeah,
Because
that would have been a waste.
it would have been, and then you couldn't have done it with a New Gods movie, or you could have, but it might have been weird. So for as much as that movie was building to Darkseid, boy, I'm glad they didn't use him.
Yeah, they were on their way, but they didn't get there.
And now, hopefully, with kind of, I was going to say competent, but a very visually interesting director and a strong writer behind it. I mean, I got all the faith in the world in this movie. And I kind of feel like from every little tidbit we get, it feels like there's effort.
That's welcome.
Yeah, which isn't always the case. I mean, I'm not going to say with DC movies, but you get that with some movies sometimes. It's just like, oh, you're rushing this. No one cares. We're all here for the paycheck.
I really just would like to see DC make a movie that they can kind of have be their own and not worry about competing with Marvel.
I just watched Shazam, which we didn't do for the show. It's fine.
Or even
it's exactly what it should be. Weirdly dark, but still fine.
Even if you follow kind of the Marvel formula, I mean, just make a good movie. That's all I want.
I know. I do feel like there's this fear that like we can't just do this thing because then people will just say we're copying. So we need to try something different. Well, it turns out there's a reason one works.
Yeah, people don't like what's different.
But I mean, DC does do good things. Like their TV stuff is basically half of the CW. Their animated stuff does really well. They have lines aimed at kids with like DC Superhero Girls and Teen Titans Go. Their movies have made a lot of money, like more than they were before.
So latch onto that pony and ride.
I'm not saying that the movies have been all great, but they're at least making money.
Yeah, movies.
And when this is only a part of Warner Brothers,
yeah,
it's probably. I mean, Harry Potter definitely still makes them the most money.
Oh, without a doubt. Plus, Marvel has their own studio.
Yeah, I mean, they do
so they
one
can
thing.
Create their direction and do what they want. DC is kind of beholden to the studio because they're not the studio. So the studio, I don't know if I want to make that movie. Or we're not going to make the movie the way you want to make it. Marvel Studios, they're just going to bank on the reputation. We're going to make the movie we want to make the way we want to make it. And no one's going to stop us.
They've built up enough good faith.
Yes.
They're like, here's Ant-Man. We're like, okay, we'll watch it.
Oh, that wasn't bad.
Rudd has abs now? Cool.
Good for him.
I mean, I remember back when they had to stop production of the 40-year-old version, they were like, he's too pudgy, get him in shape. And thinking about the way he looks now, it's like, weird.
He got into shape.
Yeah, he's in shape. And not a ton of comic book news, but the one kind of biggie is in the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man number 12, they've announced that Spider-Man will die. But not only is he going to die, he has to investigate his own death.
So is he really dead?
Probably not.
Is he sixth sensing this?
He's very profitable. They're probably not going to kill him. One, it sounds like an interesting concept, but two, the reason I bring it up is that book doesn't do well enough, and I like it more than the main Spider-Man title right now compared to Amazing. So yeah, pick up Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. It's the better Spider-Man book. He's going to investigate his own death, and there was that whole sad thing with Spider-Bite. There was that cancer kid and all the stuff with Aunt May, and it's a really solid book.
There's a lot going on for Spider-Man.
Yeah, get that one instead. But that's it for the pop culture news.
A lean week.
Fine, The Irishman had a trailer.
Okay, well, whatever, then. I don't... Exactly.
Lean
week.
Scorsese's doing another gangster movie. It's on Netflix.
Oh, wait a minute. Is that the Pacino
De Niro
one?
Yeah.
Oh,
Joe Pesci.
There's a trailer out for that?
Yeah, they show all the de-aging in it.
I am totally going to watch that trailer when I get home.
Yeah, it's going to be on Netflix, so that's an interesting take. Hopefully it'll be good.
Did it look good?
Yeah.
All right.
I have no reason to think it's not. Usually that's a good combination of things, Scorsese and De Niro.
Did Joe Pesci drop an F-bomb in this trailer?
I don't remember if he did, but I'm sure he will in the movie.
You mudda.
I mean, who doesn't love Cape Fear? That's a good one.
Again, you still haven't seen Goodfellas or Casino.
No, but I've seen Taxi Driver. And
you need to see Goodfellas and Casino.
And I know that's touted as one of the greatest movies of all time. Want to know my opinion on it?
Not that good?
I don't really like it. I don't think it's very good, no.
I think you would like both Casino and Goodfellas.
From what I know.
Yeah.
But that's actually the end of the pop culture news now that I also just said I don't like Taxi Driver. We're going to move on to this week. I mean, look, he's not likable. It kind of plods along. I like the ending, but basically everything up until the ending, I'm not that big on.
All right, then you're entitled to that opinion.
All right, so we're going to move on to this week in comics history.
Superhero landing coming up.
This week in comics history.
Things happened.
Boy, did they. We're going way back.
Boy, did they. Did you just boy, did they the podcast?
I don't know. Did I?
Sounds like it.
I don't remember what I said.
You said boy, did they.
All right, great. This week in 1930, doesn't get much older than that in this news segment,
Wow, that's digging deep.
in the Street and Smith radio program on the Detective Story Hour, The Shadow made his first appearance as a narrator.
He knows what evil lurks in the hearts of men.
I thought you'd want that one.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I mean, that's going.
Have you ever listened to some of the old radio serials, though?
I've heard some Superman ones. I haven't really ventured out beyond that.
They're pretty good. There's some
I mean, I
the
used to
theater
have-
of the mind, man. That's what radio was built on.
I had one of those on vinyl. I sold it in the store. It's long gone for me.
No, that's why you said had, past tense.
Yes, because I bought it many years ago and then I sold it because, money. A bunch of first appearances happened this week. In fact, it's almost exclusively first appearances aside from that Shadow one.
He's a shadowy character.
But some big ones. Alicia Masters first appeared in Fantastic Four #8 in 1962. Blind sculptress who fell in love with a thing. They recently got married. But her first appearance is super weird, especially in context of everything else. She is the stepdaughter of the puppet master, and she goes to impersonate Sue Storm in the Fantastic Four because she looks so close to Sue Storm that if you just put a blonde wig on her, she looks identical, which is weird that no one doesn't recognize that it's not Sue, but two, also way weirder when Johnny marries a Skrull version of her in the future, meaning that he married someone and had sex with someone who looked identical to his sister.
I'm confused.
Weird.
Yes, not normal.
Don't have sex with a Skrull version of someone who's identical to your sister.
So, but technically, he had sex with a Skrull.
Yeah,
So he had sex with an alien.
yeah. And married her.
Johnny, I'll tell you what.
But now the real version's married to Ben.
Does that
Here's-
mean like Ben and Johnny are kind of like Eskimo brothers?
No.
Not even a little bit.
You went to a weird place. No.
Well, I mean, you went to a weird place.
They were
bringing up
different ladies. I brought
different
up pure
species.
context.
Different species. I'm just trying to wrap my head around it, and I'm struggling with that concept. So thank you.
From one of the best comic stories of all time, in the middle of very early on, in early Walter Simonson Thor and Thor 337, the second person to be worthy of the Hammer of Thor, Beta Ray Bill, appeared. A giant horse-face alien who can pick up Mjolnir, or then got his own hammer, Stormbreaker. He has a good old time, he's a good ally, but when he's not looking like a horse-faced alien, he just kind of looks like an Oscar.
BRB. That's what it is. Beta Ray Bill.
He is, yes. Here's a first appearance for a character that I didn't know this one, that originated on television versus in the comics.
Go on.
X-23 first appeared in the early 2000s show X-Men Evolution in Season 3, Episode 11 in 2003. I thought she first appeared in that miniseries in comics, but apparently it was on television for a show I never watched.
Wrong.
Hey, cool. We're all learning things with this segment.
That's the purpose of the segment.
Didn't write down the year for this one, but this week, Superboy Prime first appeared in DC Comics Presents number 87. He's kind of a jerky young version of Superman who you might know from the 90s in the reign of the Superman storyline after Superman died, or from the mid-2000s when he punched reality so hard it broke.
You talk about this all the time.
I always like to bring it up because it's really weird.
Didn't somebody also like slap Darkseid? Or no, it's just always punching reality so hard it breaks.
Yeah.
That's something else.
I mean, someone's probably slapped Darkseid, but
Yeah, well, I mean, he probably
punched
deserved it.
reality so hard it broke. That's what Superboy Prime does.
Attaboy, Superboy.
Also in 1985, speaking of Crisis on Infinite Earths, that CW thing that's going to happen, in Crisis on Infinite Earths number 8, Barry Allen was killed, disintegrating panel by panel. It's pretty horrific looking stuff.
Well, I mean, man, it's disintegrating.
But I mean, between 1985 and 2008, it was 2008, yeah. Between 1985 and 2008, he was dead. He didn't come back. It was Wally for all that time. That's a long time to keep a character down.
Yeah, he was, well, I mean, took a while to put the pieces back together. He disintegrated.
And that's why also a reason why a lot of people like Wally more than Barry, because a lot of current comics readers went up with Wally versus Barry. And then when Barry came back in 2008, and he has been the primary Flash since then, yeah.
Are you Team Barry or Team Wally?
Definitely Wally.
Oh, yeah?
Definitely Wally. Oh, there's anything wrong with Barry, but Wally was my Flash, and he's a lot of people's too.
All right, there you go.
But that's it for this week in comics history. So from Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the comic books writer, to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the basketball player, we're moving on to Jared's sports reports.
Huh.
He's running down the middle by the 50. He's at the 30. Bare-chested. The guy is drunk, but there he goes. Oh, and they tackle him at the 40-yard line.
It's time for another Jared Sports Report.
I like that one because it's the same guy. He's just had different careers.
Fair enough.
Isn't that weird? He's had so many careers.
He has.
From basketball to acting to writer.
He was an airplane pilot at one point, too.
In the movie Airplane or in real life?
In the movie Airplane.
Okay, it's like, not that I've heard of him doing it for real. It's a great movie. That's one of the funniest movies of all time.
Oh, yeah. It's absolutely hilarious.
But all right, sports. What do we got going on in the world of sports? I know there's a couple of biggies.
Well, Tom Brady restructured his contract to be able to play through the age of 45 and create cap space for the Patriots. So that's interesting. There were some people who thought that he might kind of hold out if the Patriots didn't work with him on his contract this year because it was the last year of his previous contract. So they've developed an extension so he can play if he wants to through 45. He's 42 now, just turned 42. And let's see, what else exciting from the Patriots in football?
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Also, this isn't a show I really like, but it is something I see from time to time.
Hard Knocks?
First Take.
I don't watch First Take.
Yeah, I think it's mostly talking heads just who were given points to say and just scream at each other.
Yes, that is correct.
But I did see an interesting thing about Brady. I was curious what your opinion on the argument of greatest versus the best. Like kind of Tom Brady goes down as the greatest of all time because of his pedigree of how many times he's won championships.
It's been 9 Super Bowls.
Yeah, but does that make him the best? Are there players that are better? Like if you the example that was given was like Aaron Rodgers versus Brady.
Okay, so right now, Tom Brady is the greatest of all time. He's the greatest football player to ever play the game. Greatest quarterback. Is he the best player right now? No, he's not the best player in the NFL. What if you were looking at career-wise, would you say that, when he was going from we're clearly kind of much like Patrick Stewart, we're towards the end of his career. If you were to look at his skill level, would you say he's the best or would you say he's just the greatest? I think he's the greatest to have ever played. I don't think his skills necessarily are the best. He's not very mobile. He's not overly fast. I mean, he can do those things. He only has just over 1,000 career rushing yards. And he's been in the league since 2000. So think about that and the amount of running that goes into it. Doesn't necessarily have the best arm, but his accuracy has been pretty decent most of his career in the high 60s. His athleticism has always been a knock on him. Are there better athletes in the NFL? Absolutely. Absolutely. Is he the greatest of all time? Yes. Is he the best football player of all time? I don't know. That's a very tough question. You'd have to, how are you going to quantify it?
I don't know how you would. I think it probably comes down to opinion more than anything. But if I were to put you on the spot and say who's the best of all time, if he's the greatest, who's the best?
The best pure athlete football player, Barry Sanders, has to be in that discussion.
These are also stupid discussions because people do it all the time. Like, who's the GOAT? Like, does it really matter?
Tom Brady's the greatest football player of all time. He's greatest. But Barry Sanders didn't have a long career. He kind of got out before he really maximized. Had he been on another team, there's an argument to be made about him being one of the best football players of all time. Jerry Rice, one of the best receivers of all time, if not maybe the greatest receiver. Randy Moss is up there.
I see a lot of argument for Aaron Rodgers as being the best despite only having one Super Bowl.
Well, the things that Aaron Rodgers does are just ridiculous. Brett Favre could be in that discussion too. But Tom Brady is the greatest of all time.
I think most people, even if they don't like the Patriots, if you just look at his career, it's hard to argue against.
When he needs to win, he usually has the Super Bowl losses that they had are not on Brady. When you look at the things that happened in those Super Bowls, Brady, when they lost to the Eagles, Brady was phenomenal. It was the defense that had breakdowns.
I think we watched that at your house, right?
Yes.
Okay. I was just curious. I just saw that on First Take, and I was just wanted to get your opinion. But all right, what else is happening?
Tom Brady and Giselle have put up their mansion in Massachusetts for sale.
Was that in Brookline?
Yep.
Is that where it was?
$39 to $40 million price range. So you have that. There's some conjecture. Of course, people are always going to, I don't think he comes out of retirement, but people are like, oh, they freed up $5.5 million of cap space. $5.5 million, that'd be enough to get Gronk to come out of retirement mid-season. I don't see it. I really don't. Let him stay retired.
I mean, also, they haven't finished their roster yet this year.
Exactly. They still have a long way to go. Josh Gordon's applied for reinstatement from his most recent suspension, so who knows, they get him back. But don't sit around and hold your breath for Gronk to come back.
Don't worry about the old days, just focus on what's new.
Exactly. Latch on to today. Speaking of latching on to today, the Red Sox continue to prove that they're a team. They had a really good series against the Yankees last weekend, and they totally squandered that away this past weekend. So they're just probably not there. They might make the one-day playoff game and maybe get into the wild card. Who knows? But they've got a lot of lot of warts on that team. So Dave Dombrowski even said they weren't going to make any moves at the trade deadline because he didn't think they had a chance at winning the division in the regular season. So what's the point?
Harsh.
Yeah, it did not go over well. That was probably not the right thing to say.
Honesty.
There's honesty, and then there's brutal, rude honesty.
Truth bombs.
That's nuclear truth bombs. Trying to think of anything else.
Preseason starting.
Yeah, preseason.
It's technically week 2.
Yes, the Hall of Fame game last week, which I didn't watch a single down of. The Patriots play Friday night against the Lions. They're having joint practices in Detroit all week. Convenient because most of the Patriots went out there to Canton for Ty Law's induction into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So there was that.
In one of those joint practices, the Packers got into a fight with the Texans. Fisticuffs.
Good for them.
Good times.
Yeah, a lot of the initial play happens during this first week of combined practices. So you're not going to see a whole lot. You might not even see the number ones on Friday night. You might not even see Tom Brady play at all because he's been playing most of the week in the situational stuff. So we shall see.
What did you say? You said you wanted to wait for week 3?
Week 3.
Before you made your
Week 3
predictions?
Yes.
All right. It's still a ways out.
Yes. I understand that.
But there you go. Football season's back.
Yes, it is.
I know it's your favorite.
I'm excited. It also means the summer's over. So
I feel like this is my joy for 4 months.
More than 4 months. August, September, October, November, December, January. 6 months?
6 months.
Yeah.
6 months of joy.
Woo! That's all I really got.
All right. We're looking at me. There's nothing else happening.
There you go.
There is no news. I have no basketball news because nothing.
Shocking.
Yeah, amazingly enough, in the offseason, there's no news.
I can't believe it.
Wacky.
A little bit.
Is that that?
That's that.
That's sports. That's a burp that hasn't fully happened.
That's a half burp. A herp.
Not a herp.
Oh.
I've already had my herpes.
Ugh.
Chickenpox.
Oh, fair. How about a burf?
But
no?
From sports, we're going to move on. It is the 10-year anniversary of X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Speaking of herp. It's eye herpes.
There's a lot to talk about with this movie. It's not without some highlights, but it is, which I think I'm going to try and focus on more because everyone has torn this movie a new asshole. So we're going to give our takes.
Must have a lot of those now, doesn't it?
Oh, it does. We're going to do our take on X-Men Origins Wolverine.
I'm the best there is at what I do. But what I do best isn't very nice.
It's time for an Editor's Note podcast review.
Also, full spoilers for this. It's 10 years old. If you haven't seen it, here's my recommendation. Don't.
There you go.
But if you haven't seen it, this is the quickest synopsis ever. This is a prequel movie showcasing the life of Wolverine, mostly in the 1980s, where he joins Weapon X, quits it because they're really mean, gets a girlfriend, then she dies.
Or does she?
Then he rejoins Weapon X, tries to kill Sabretooth, then his girlfriend isn't dead, and then he gets shot in the head and loses his memories. And Gambit's in there sometimes.
Yes.
And that's the movie.
Pretty much.
But let's talk about that.
And Hugh Jackman's ass is in there.
Oh, yeah, it is.
A couple of times. He jumps off a waterfall like in The Fugitive.
I love that. I don't care. That's such a good delivery from Tommy Lee Jones.
Oh, yeah.
It's a good movie.
It's a great movie. Which, by the way...
We're not here to talk about The Fugitive.
No, because that's a good movie. We're here to talk about a mediocre movie at best. When he jumps off that waterfall into that pond, he's full of adamantium. Why does he not sink?
He probably should.
Yeah, exactly. Just saying, he's carrying 100 pounds of metal, easily 100 pounds of metal. I'm no physics expert, but that's going straight to the bottom.
Here's some interesting facts around when this movie was released. This movie has an interesting pedigree of what's referred to as a work copy was leaked online 3 weeks, a month out before when the movie happened. And to be fair, they also, the director and producers were like, well, if that hadn't leaked, the movie would have done a lot better. A lot of people just saw this unfinished product and didn't like it. Here's the thing. I watched that unfinished version, and I watched the final version in theaters, and I bought it on Blu-ray. I gave you money twice for this movie. That didn't really affect, the work print didn't really affect anything for me.
Why did you buy why did you pay real money twice?
Because, I mean, I want to like the X-Men series, and there are some highlights.
Okay.
But especially then when, I mean, Marvel had only been out for a year, like starting things off, I still really wanted to like this series. And also it was a point where they did 3 X-Men movies, and that was, by the time 2006 rolled around, that was also a time when we just kind of accepted trilogies as being the end of series.
Wrong.
Oh, very wrong. Not today. Trilogy means nothing.
That's a good point.
But the work print is honestly, I think more interesting than the finished product, because I thought it was interesting to see how some of those unfinished effects go in there and whatnot, and seeing how a movie is pieced together. I think it's one of the, at least for the public, one of the best examples of being able to see that. So it was actually kind of cool compared to the finished product, which was in no way better. All they did, they switched a couple of lines of dialogue, which is because if I still watch them, I still hear like the original, like there's one of Sabretooth talking to Deadpool, and he's saying like, oh, if you bring swords to your ex-girlfriend's wedding, like it makes a scene or something, and Sabretooth goes, that's funny, Wade, I didn't know you liked girls. And I think the original like work print was like, that's funny, Wade, I don't actually give a shit.
Yeah, that would have been a cooler line.
And there's little stuff like that where they switch out lines. And if you watch the work print, you can kind of see some of the editing they do to like, oh, we need to cut away from this face because we switched the line. So there's little stuff, and the unfinished effects are pretty cool. Like you can see visual effects stuff of like, okay, Wolverine gets hit and the body has to go flying. So you just kind of see this naked gray body go flying. But you can see like they do all the muscle in the claws. Like even like the naked gray body has abs, even though like he's wearing clothes. So it's actually pretty fascinating. If you can find the work print, probably watch that. That's way better than the movie.
Okay.
Because it's at least an interesting experiment.
There's a little something to it.
But this movie was also supposed to kick off a new series of X-Men movies.
Yeah, the Origins movies.
Yeah, the next one in the pipeline was going to be X-Men Origins Magneto.
Which was like, there was talks of
this movie
Ian McKellen actually being in it.
Yeah, because he was like, the de-aging in X-Men The Last Stand is so impressive. We'll just do that for the whole movie. It wasn't that good. I'm glad they didn't.
Yeah.
But they worked in some of those story points into X-Men First Class, which is actually a good movie.
That's a very good movie. I enjoy it.
I like that one. But yeah, this movie bombed hard and no one liked it, so I love that it just has this really long, overblown title, X-Men Origins Wolverine. And also, if you watch the special features on the disc, they're so fucking proud of themselves. It's amazing.
I didn't watch any of the features.
Don't feel that you need to.
Good, because I wasn't planning on it.
Except when it comes to Deadpool, then they kind of walk it back. They're like, look, we know people didn't like this, but look, when he fires laser blast, we make his eyes like diamonds, like his mask. And like, so that's as good as you're going to get for Deadpool.
Wrong.
I have a list of complaints, so
okay.
What do you think?
It's not the best of the X-Men movies by far. It's, I don't know. There was like lots of opportunities to tell an origin story, but there was no origin story told. Like, I really didn't ever feel like I got an origin story. I got a Wolverine adventure.
Yeah, here's the thing. At the end of the movie, what new information have you learned?
None.
Yeah. It's kind of a pointless movie.
Isn't it, like, true, though? Like, it's not comic book accurate as far as Sabretooth and Wolverine being related?
They are not brothers. Originally, Sabretooth was his father, but they dropped that, so no one needs to worry about that. But yeah, they're not brothers, but they are in this movie.
No. Some of the visual effects are rough.
How do you make the claw effect worse?
They did.
That looked pretty good in the year 2000, but when 2009 rolled around, and it looks fine for a lot of it, but there was that one scene in
where he
the bathroom
first discovers him,
where he's just clanging them together and all these sparks are flying, and it couldn't look more fake. Though what's weird is they have like real physical ones that he wears for some scenes. Why spend the money on the visual effects if you can just put the fake ones in?
Yeah.
Like, it's a little grip that goes into his hand.
Yeah,
and
it's
they
like
just
a brass knuckle kind of thing.
Yeah, and they just swing around, and yeah, that's weirdly terrible.
Yeah, not very good. A couple of things that are some like weird parallels that happen down the line. Like, if you're a family that owns a farm and Logan shows up, you're dead.
Yeah.
You are dead.
Yeah, those old people get it bad.
They really, really do. The story, there's just not like... It doesn't really give me an origin. Some of the coolest stuff happens during the opening credits when Sabretooth and Logan are fighting in all the wars.
That's the best scene, that montage of them going through all of these like big wars in American history.
Civil War and World War I, World War II, Korea, Vietnam. Well, Vietnam. I don't think they ever get to Korea.
I don't think they did Korea, but they did do Vietnam. But yeah, that's a solid opening montage.
Yes. Liev Schreiber is not bad in this.
He is. I actually like him quite a bit in this. I think what was the guy's name? Tyler Mane. He was a wrestler who played Sabretooth in that first X-Men movie.
Yeah, also, when did Sabretooth start bleaching his hair and growing it out?
I can comic book explain that away. There was an arc of Sabretooth where as time went on, he became more feral and more animalistic. So that's kind of how I explained it in my head of how he went from Liev Schreiber to barely saying anything.
Okay.
It's not what they were doing, but I can roll with it.
Also, like, what's the woman's name? I can't remember. The one that he's in love with. Silver Fox. And her ability to, like, mind change people. Yeah, she's trying to, like, free her sister. Huge ball. Why don't you just get close to Stryker.
A guard.
Yeah, and like use her mind control on him. Also, did she use her mind control on Wolverine to make him fall in love?
I don't know. It's ambiguous.
Yeah, like there's no, I feel like I know as much about Logan as he does at the end of the movie.
Holy crap. And that name origin that she gives him for Wolverine, that goes on for
Too long.
28 minutes, it
And
feels
you could just
like.
tell that, like in that scene,
Keikuatsu. Shut
Total-
the hell up.
total cruise control in that scene.
Holy hell, does that go on forever? Here's a weird one, and they also do this in the next Wolverine movie, which I actually like quite a bit. A lot of people don't, and I think it's probably because of the third act, but I like the Wolverine a lot. But it bugs me in that movie, and also in this movie,
Yeah.
that we see Hugh Jackman in many different time periods. Same haircut for each one of them.
Hey, you know, you come across a style that works for you, you stay with it.
No, it switches from every movie, but every time they do a flashback, he just happens to have the same hair for whatever movie he's in. It feels weird.
Also, like, he ages and then stops aging in this movie. When you think about when he goes from being young to looking like adult Wolverine at the Civil War and then continuing on.
And
does
keeps
not get
that
any
haircut through the 80s.
Yes. And
Except for when he went to World War II in the next movie.
But he doesn't get any gray hair until X-Men Days of Future Past.
Yeah. Yeah, his aging is confusing and inconsistent.
Yes.
This is also a movie that it's never a good feeling, and it's hard to describe, but a movie where you can feel the reshoots. Because they clearly had two very different ideas about where they were going to go with how he's going to lose his memory. Because they bring up memory loss about 7 different times, and it was definitely going to be going to the Weapon X version of, like, they're just going to mind wipe him. But then there's this whole thing with the adamantium bullet, and you can just feel that it's not consistent. They're plucking from 2 different sources, and they bring it up, and it's really weird every time.
But doesn't it goes on, like, the adamantium bullet is what's supposed to kill him. So you shoot him in the head with an adamantium bullet.
And some of those lines of dialogue just don't make any damn sense. They're like, I'm going to shoot him in the head with an adamantium bullet. They're like, sir, but it'll heal. He's like, he might heal, but his memories won't. How do you know that? That's impossible to know.
Yeah.
And also, you're such a marksman, you can shoot him in the memories?
Don't break into cats. Don't do it. Don't do it.
No. I hate that musical. Also hate this movie.
Memories.
But that it doesn't make sense. And there are deleted scenes in this movie where you can see they went a different way with that. And there's also weird costume changes in the middle. Like, if you go from scene to scene, sometimes Wolverine will be wearing, like, a shirt, and then the next scene, like, in the same 5-minute span, then it switches to him. He's just in a tank top, and the jacket comes and goes a few times.
Also,
it's all inconsistent.
Also, he gets a leather jacket from that farm family. Like, it has no real meaning or value.
It's kind of the Solo effect of, like, I don't need the origin of where he got a leather jacket. You know where I assume he got it? I don't know, a store.
A leather jacket store?
Probably just bought a jacket.
Never really shown a great affinity for that jacket. That jacket's so special to him.
Yeah, like, oh, look at where he got it. What a dumb and pointless thing.
Yeah, it's just, by the way, how many times do they have to do the overhead shot of him yelling as a kid, as an adult? Yes.
It's a very yelly movie.
It's a very yelly movie.
He yells a lot.
There was no origin story. It was just a Wolverine adventure with Wolverine, a day in the life.
In this, I mean, there's also a lot of stuff that doesn't line up with what future movies would be. So we get the origin of Emma Frost in this movie, who's supposed to be Silver Fox's sister. That's not a thing in the comics, but whatever, I'll roll with it. Except this takes place in the 80s, and then 20 years earlier, she's played by a much older January Jones in X-Men First Class. Like, that doesn't line up. Like, well, but I guess they don't say her name in the movie. But then if you go to some of the special features, it was like all this like promo stuff ahead of time. She's like, my name is Emma Frost. I'm like, okay, there it is. There it is. It's okay.
Yeah. Also,
she's a psychic with diamond powers. I mean, I guess I kind of assumed. Cyclops is weird. Doesn't really add anything. Why is he here?
Also, it totally doesn't fall in line with any of the stuff that we get later on.
No, especially not with the newer movies, but yeah.
Yeah, where he's actually getting his mind wiped there. It's a younger William Stryker.
We have a weird de-aged
Cyclops
Patrick Stewart
yeah.
that looks terrible.
It looks like Mr. Clean.
Also, it doesn't line up again with the timeline of him being able to walk. Like once he's walking, when he's using his powers. But again, if you want to argue it away, you could say he's doing a mental projection of a man who's walking.
Also, you're safe now. Not true. You just walked out of the door of that military installation. You are far from safe.
Get in the damn helicopter.
Yeah, exactly.
And going into this movie, there was a lot of hype around like, hey, guess what? We're doing Gambit. Everyone loves that jackass. Except he doesn't really do much. He's in like 3 scenes. Also, there's some good fights in this. There's one good fight in this where Sabretooth and Wolverine fight in the bar in Canada.
Yes.
And gets like thrown into the logging truck and stuff.
Yes.
That's a good fight. The rest of them kind of suck. I don't know why I said there's some good fights. But
No.
there's one good one.
I thought Canadians were supposed to be polite.
But yeah, Gambit fights Wolverine. One of the worst effects is when he's on the stoop and Wolverine's just cutting down the ladder and it looks like a cartoon.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
a terrible effect.
Also, why are Gambit and Wolverine really fighting? There's no need to fight.
Also, blink and you'll miss it. Gambit is in like 1 second of X-Men The Last Stand. They had him in there and then they cut him. But there's one shot, like when Magneto's gathering all of his forces in the woods, there's one shot where Gambit's still in there.
Yeah.
But so he's technically in the earlier movies.
One of the most underutilized characters in the X-Men universe in the X-Men movies.
Yeah, he has a decent look. The accent isn't terrible, but he doesn't do anything.
No, he doesn't. He plays with some cards.
And the hat looks kind of stupid.
He's also able to helicopter himself down with a cane.
That's stupid. That is stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing that happens.
There's no way. I'm no physicist expert, right? That cane does not have any aerodynamic properties in which it would create lift, no matter how fast you spin it.
No.
Especially on the order we're talking about to gently lower a man from a 5-story building.
Will.i.am is in this.
Yes.
Why is he in this?
Why not? Where's the love, Zach?
He's friends with the Blob. That effect looks terrible.
Also, the whole Blob scene is dumb.
But yes, the boxing scene, that's no good.
Wow.
But to be
you
fair,
missed that was a great reference I thought in there.
I guess I missed it.
You're like, why is Will.i.am? And it's like, where's the love?
Oh, great.
You're welcome.
Also, strangely, that's how he gets credited. It's William with some periods in it.
I don't think it's his real name.
I doubt it is. And then everyone's favorite, Deadpool.
Oh, we've totally glossed over that.
Ryan Reynolds took this role to keep it alive because he wanted to do it all the way back then, but they threatened to cast him with someone else if he didn't do it. So he did it, and famously is not a big fan.
No.
That stupid crap where he's doing like the kind of like feather effect with the swords and deflecting bullets. That is horse.
Yeah,
That's not how, you can't deflect bullets like that. And that's one of the things. If you watch the special features, they are so proud of that scene.
That's not how swords work. That's how bullets work.
No, that's not how. Yes, those things are not one and the same. And then, of course, in Deadpool 2, they made fun of it by just having him do that, and Cable is just riddling him with bullets.
Yeah,
and it's not working.
No.
Oh man,
is it supposed to be the same Deadpool? Because I don't believe. I mean,
not really. Deadpool's kind of its own thing.
Yes.
But, oh, man. And then the fact that they took the Merc with the mouth and took away his mouth. Holy crap. And the stupid arm blades and just the teleport. And the whole thing is so dumb.
Oh, yeah. Not good.
I mean, I'm not like the world's biggest Deadpool fan, but I'm like, I mean, he'd been around since the early 90s, but right around the time Wolverine came out, or at least as a comic reading fan at the time, there was kind of an explosion of Deadpool popularity like right before this movie. And that
kind of slapped it down.
Yeah, they kind of didn't do anything with him.
Yeah,
so it was weird and bad.
They really
There's one scene
screwed that up.
The elevator scene isn't bad.
Yeah.
When they're going up and there's a couple of wisecracks in there, and that's not a terrible scene.
Always the elevator.
I even what's his name? Dominic Monaghan. I even remember him doing like press tours before this movie came out. I can't remember. I think it must have been Conan he was on, because that's probably the only thing I was watching at the time. But I remember like him going on Conan, and they do like the one scene that he's in is like the clip they brought him. Like, so we know he dies in like the first 5 minutes because that's the only scene he's really in. But I do specifically remember him saying that it was Hugh Jackman, like friendly guy, good guy, but he ate a lot of broccoli and cauliflower, so he wasn't a good guy to be downwind of.
Probably not. No.
I do remember that from that interview.
Also, his accent, Hugh Jackman's accent, comes leaking through in this quite a few times.
Sure it does. There is. Oh, you know what? I will give this shot credit because it's pretty badass. When he does the 180 turn degree on the motorcycle with his claws in the dirt.
That is pretty cool.
That is a cool shot. That is probably the coolest shot of Wolverine in all these movies. I'm just trying to give this movie credit where credit's due, because that's pretty cool.
What about when he jumps onto the helicopter?
That is stupid.
Okay.
That is really stupid.
Glad we figured out where you stand on that.
And then he walks away from the explosion.
Yeah.
So dumb.
When in such close proximity, his hair doesn't even move.
It's such a big explosion, too.
Doesn't
I have
react.
to walk away from this because I'm a badass.
I mean, it is kind of badass to do that. It's also probably a way to get killed.
Something interesting about this that I don't think any other movie has done and you can find it on the Blu-ray. They have the alternate. But this movie was released with 2 different post-credit scenes, depending on what theater you were in. I mean, they're both entirely inconsequential, but I don't think anyone else has done that.
Clue?
Okay, Clue. Clue did it better.
Thank you.
There we go. All right, someone else has done it.
No
No one's done it since?
Not that I know of.
Okay, great.
But Clue did it better.
There is one scene where Deadpool picks up his head because he got decapitated.
Yes.
And he goes, shh. Like, oh, there's a sequel going to happen. I guess technically it did eventually.
Yeah, like a dozen years later.
And there's another one where Wolverine goes to Japan and he's at a bar and this girl's like, are you drinking to remember? He's like, no, I'm drinking to forget. I'm like, well, you really set him up for that line.
But what is he forgetting? Because his brain's already been mushed.
Yeah, no kidding. Or maybe it's the other way. Maybe it's drinking to forget, I'm drinking to remember. I don't care. It's stupid either way.
Yeah, it doesn't really work.
But then the biggest sin of this movie, in my opinion, this movie's pointless. Entirely pointless. Wolverine, as a character, doesn't have an arc because he literally learns nothing. He actually learns less by the end of the movie.
He knows nothing about himself at the end of the movie.
And we find out he was always just kind of that guy. He doesn't change. He has no actual arc. And then us as audience members don't actually learn anything about him that we didn't already know from earlier X-Men movies.
He's the same Wolverine.
Like, this movie has no point. He doesn't learn anything. We don't learn anything. So why do this movie? No one learns anything.
Also, it totally doesn't ever fall in line with, if you think about the other movies, like Days of Futures Past, William Stryker gets a hold of him because he's in the bottom of the Potomac River.
I mean, they also show in, like, Days of Future Past, which was still the old timeline, that Wolverine wasn't there at the end of the Vietnam War, even though he was in this one. It doesn't quite line up.
Yeah.
And this is just a weird one for me, just because I happened to be there, like, right before this happened. They do a scene in New Orleans, and they do one exterior shot of Bourbon Street with Wolverine and Will.i.am. Not going to call him his character name.
Okay.
Driving down. It's a quick exterior shot. I had just been to Bourbon Street like a month before. That is not 1980s Bourbon Street. I'm like, oh, those are all the bars that are there right now. I was just there. I can confirm this.
Wow.
Which I always whenever I see it, I always think it's hilarious. It's also a weird time capsule for me. I'm like, oh yeah, there's Bourbon Street in 2009. I remember that.
I was there once. I saw things.
It looked exactly like this. I bet it didn't look exactly like this in the 80s.
Probably not.
It's just a weird thing that it's just always there for me. I'm like, oh yeah, there it is. Which also makes me kind of happy. I'm like, yeah, that was a fun place.
I've been there, done that, seen it.
And it hasn't changed since the 80s, according to this movie.
Well, you know.
But that's just a fun thing for me.
Let the good times roll, as they say.
I had a good time.
I'm sure you did.
I had a very good time. I don't know. Do you have any other thoughts on this movie 10 years later?
No.
How has it aged?
It really isn't.
Not well. It's not really worth watching.
No. I would say save your time. But if you had to choose between watching this or Apocalypse...
Or Dark Phoenix.
I would watch this over Dark Phoenix.
Oh, definitely.
Yes.
I mean, this movie, because I can't tell if they're taking themselves seriously or if they know they're cheesy.
I can't tell either.
I don't think they know. I don't think they know how cheesy they are. And there's a humor factor to that. But it's so over the top and so dumb, but the movie's taking itself very seriously. I don't think they know they're as over the top and silly as they are. I think they legitimately think, like, this is what a cool guy would do.
And the legit cool guys are like, I'm getting paid, so I'm going to do what you say, but don't know.
Also, he has weird hair. I know I mentioned the hair before, but it's a weird haircut.
Yeah, you don't like the haircut. You've mentioned that a couple of times.
Is that?
That's that.
Is that movie?
That's that movie.
Oh, boy. So now you're one movie closer to seeing all the X-Men movies.
I am one movie closer.
What are you short? Are you just short like the Wolverine now?
I think so, yes.
That's a good one. I like that one a lot.
Is that more of an origin story for him than...
No, but he gets to throw ninjas into a snowblower.
Yes, and survive a nuclear blast.
Yeah, it's a pretty gross scene. He looks real crispy after that.
Yeah, a little melted.
Yeah, really like that ninja scene. And there's a bullet train scene that's really badass where he kills a bunch of people.
I wonder how many people has Wolverine in the movies killed?
I don't know.
Hundreds.
Probably.
A lot.
He's a real murder machine.
He is. No remorse.
But yeah, so don't watch this movie. If you can find the work print on the internet, it's probably out there somewhere. Maybe download that.
Everything's on the internet.
It's way more interesting than the actual finished product. So from there, we're going to move on to letters to the editors.
Lot of questions, number one. Damn few answers.
Here's another one of your letters to the editors.
Make it so.
If you want to write us your own question, you can do it at editorsnotecomics@gmail.com, on Facebook or Twitter. And I'm going to plug this hard right now because after this one, our mailbag is empty. So we need more. So write us questions.
I'm responding to a text.
Great. So, look, I don't think that was that funny of a thing to say. You're like, oh, mailbag's empty.
It's always empty.
It's always riding the line, but this is the last one that's in there for right now.
Oh, then we really got to get more in there.
So write us a thing.
Yes, please.
editorsnotecomics@gmail.com. Look, I see the listenership. I know most of you haven't taken the time. Take the time. Also, rate, review, and subscribe. All right. I literally wrote down plug letters in my notes.
I like
so
it.
I remembered to do it. All right, this is what we got for this week. So in the world of video games, Batman and Spider-Man are kind of the dominant properties, at least at this point in time. I would argue that at other points that they sure as hell weren't. But who else would work well for a solo video game title? I do want to talk about Spider-Man and Batman for just a quick sec. Also, I am not up on video games. I used to play a bunch of them, and then...
I used to work for a video game company.
Yeah, when I was, assistant manager at EB Games.
Yeah, how did that work out for you?
I quit.
Yeah. And then you got blacklisted.
I did. That's hilarious.
So if you ever hit hard time, well, didn't they go out of business? They got bought by GameStop.
They were already bought by GameStop, but they kept the old name.
So yeah,
it's technically GameStop.
How long do you stay on the blacklist?
Life.
Wow.
I can never go back.
I guess not. Don't go looking to them for a job recommendation.
But yeah, so from about 2011 to now, I don't really have any video game experience. But before that, I have a bit. Spider-Man really didn't have good games for a good long while. People kind of... Spider-Man 1 is fine. When I say 1, I mean the one based around that first movie. Everyone touts Spider-Man 2 as kind of the masterpiece with the web swinging system, and it's a decent game. And Spider-Man 3, people say is bad, but it's not that bad. And there have been some pretty okay ones. There's basically the Spider-Verse game that came out, which was like Spider-Man 2099, Spider-Man Noir. Hey, have you heard of things like this? For a movie, there was already kind of a game.
Ah.
And then everyone seems to love the new one on PS4, but I don't own a PS4, so I have no idea. Batman had his original Nintendo game is amazing. It's basically a Ninja Gaiden clone. I was going to say, but way harder. They're actually both horribly hard, and I never beat either one of them. They're both insanely hard, but it's also insanely well done. It's just, you really got to put the time in to beat that game, and I never did.
Okay.
It's also, when you're a kid and you just have that time to, you'll just keep on playing that first level because you keep losing. You just go a little bit further. As an adult, I don't have that kind of time or patience to invest into, also because, back in the day, you would have one game. You're like, well, this is what I'm doing now. You didn't have access to everything in the world unless you, were rich or something.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, Batman's super hard, super great. But even by the Super Nintendo, people I don't like the Batman Returns game. It's a weird beat 'em up.
Button masher.
Yeah. And then, of course, the Arkham games kind of changed everything for Batman, got him good games again, and everyone loves that whole series. There are other good solo games out there. Hulk Ultimate Destruction for the PlayStation 2 is really solid. It had a fully destroyable environment, which was a lot of fun. You could just run around and hit things. That was great.
Smash.
Speaking of X-Men Origins Wolverine, it's actually a good week for this question. That's a really solid game. It's still a lot of fun to play. The game is way better than the movie. Whenever he takes damage, he loses his skin. It can get all the way down to the skeleton, but because he has a healing factor, it grows back.
Oh.
It's a lot of fun. It's very repetitive, but you basically just spend 7 hours just cutting the hell out of people.
Sounds...
with a lot of cool finishing
Sounds
moves.
violent. Sounds like Mortal Kombat.
Yeah. But, so a character who hasn't had a good, solid solo game. I was rambling for a while, so you can think of an answer.
Maybe a Deadpool.
He had a game.
Was it good? I don't know.
I never played it. It did not get great reviews.
All right, well, that takes that answer away. I know there's been a Captain America game.
That is decent. It's basically a Batman Arkham clone, but not as good, but still solid enough.
It'd be good to an Iron Man game.
That's my answer.
Fly around, have to learn how to fly.
Because there's a couple of Iron Man games out there. They're developed by Sega, who at the time was just pumping out real crap superhero games.
Yeah, but it'd be cool to have when you play, you're looking through his eyes, so you have the whole heads-up display like Tony would have, or maybe only when you're flying, you have the heads-up display for your flying levels.
You could if you wanted to have a first-person thing. My answer was Iron Man as well, but I have this is how I would do Iron Man if it were left up to me.
Well, let me do my idea first.
All right.
So you could have an interactive world. So you'd have whatever city, and you'd have that'd be your home base. It'd be kind of like Grand Theft Auto. You have to develop your suit. So you start off with the Mark 1 and you build yourself up to have the different types of suits. one of the first missions is to learn how to fly in the suit, learn how to use the repulsors and things like that. And then you just kind of work your way through so you can like go to Stark Industries and have like a safe place there, like a save point at Stark Industries, Tony's Mansion, Avengers Tower, things like that. And it's kind of a whole world that you can explore.
So you want an Iron Man sandbox game?
Yes.
All right. I have a different answer for Iron Man.
Okay.
Iron Man, but you just rip off Mega Man.
Just a little scroller?
No, just the idea of Mega Man, where you can, like, you have a home base and you can pick different missions to go on. And when you go on those different missions, you get different tech, so you can also add and subtract things from your suit to try and optimize where you're going to go next. Because, I mean, to beat the Mega Man games, you'd want to start with, like, the easy one and then get this power up. Then you go to this other level. Like, there was a system to it, so you weren't just losing every time. You could take those different power-ups and alter your suit in different ways. Kind of like Mega Man X is the one I know the best, so I'll just use that as an example. How you do, like, Chill Penguin first, because that's a pretty easy level. But then if you did Flame Mammoth's level, which is this whole, like, big metal factory and fire shooting everywhere, but if you beat Chill Penguin first, all that crap was just frozen. You could just saunter your way through. And then beat him with the ice gun pretty quick.
There you go. I was never big into Mega Man, so.
Mega Man X is amazing. But yeah, so I would do it as a Mega Man-esque game where you pick your missions and you get to upgrade your armor, and then you can add or subtract things based on the missions. It would also add replayability, because then you could go through and unlock different things if you had different pieces of armor on you. And then you finish it with, like fighting the Mandarin or something.
But you could get that through the sandbox game, too.
Yeah, you could.
So you can kind of combine them.
I just totally ripped up, like, just do Mega Man.
Yeah, well.
Just Iron Man, but it's Mega Man.
Why complicate it, right? Just do it this way.
Look, it's a tried and true system. Who doesn't like fighting a robot boss?
I can't think of anybody off the top of my head.
So yeah, that's my answer. Just Iron Man, but you just steal from Mega Man.
All right, let's get on that. Let's start video game development.
I guess I have to buy a new system. I wish I had a newer system, but that's okay.
Well, when I buy a PS5, you can have my PS4.
Then I can play that Spider-Man game.
Yeah, Spider-Man! Well, if you like the show, go ahead to...
But I also want to play like the new 2K game, and then,
Yeah, there you go. Sports game. Anyway, if you like the show, help us out. Go to patreon.com/editorsnotecomics. $1 a month gets you this show a day early, plus it gets you Patreon exclusives, where you get spoiler and spoiler-free reviews of new editions of Buffy, Angel, and Firefly.
Maybe I have to record one of those right now.
Ooh, maybe you do.
I do.
Also, you can visit Zach at the store 210 Water Street in Hollowell, and he's also online, editorsnotecomics.com, and on Facebook and Instagram.
Just say Facebook and Twitter. At this point, the Instagram
and
is
Twitter.
basically unused.
Don't forget the Twitter.
I like the Twitter the best.
The tweets.
I tweet a lot, like 2 days a week, and then I kind of stop. When new stuff rolls in, I'm just kind of tweeting as I'm reading.
Wow, yes.
That's kind of how it goes.
That's why I get a lot of notices that you're twittering on Wednesdays.
You get notices that I'm tweeting?
Yes.
Oh, weird.
It's like, recommended for you. Editors No Comics tweets, "This was awesome."
Yeah, I only tweet about things I like. It's also if I'm tweeting about it, I actually like it. If I'm not tweeting about a thing, it's either because I wasn't that excited about it, or I didn't read it.
Good to know.
That's kind of how it goes.
And so it goes.
And you have another podcast.
Yes, the Coaches Room podcast, recording again this week. It'll be out on Monday the 11th or 12th, whatever Monday is.
All about Maine sports from a coach's perspective.
Yep, we'll be talking about the retirement of Paul Vachon. Talk about setting up your lineup and your roster, your roster based on, if you got maybe kids that have been loyal to your program for years or stud incoming freshmen, how to build your roster. And we're going to talk with Spruce Mountain basketball coach Zach Keene this week on that show. So check that out.
And you also have a Twitter.
At Junior Rich.
That'll do it for this week. We'll be back next week. I think the Wonder Woman script finally. Promised it like 8 times.
All right.
Let's see if I actually read it this week.
Attaboy.
All right, we'll be back.
I'll know if you read it because you'll tweet about it.
It's not good. I've read it before.
Oh, then you're not going to tweet about it.
Yeah. All right.
Bye.